Hello, everyone. This is Vivian, and I hope that everyone is doing as well as possible in these, you know, um, I guess, turbulent times. Um, yeah, so today I actually wanted to talk about, with everything that's going on and with the the rising food prices and also some food shortages. I wanted to tell everybody about a resource that I know where you'd be able to find food, high quality food, straight from the farm, and you don't have to worry about what's in the supermarket and what's not. And so this website, it's called eatwild.com, and I'm not at all affiliated with it, but I've known about it for a few years. And it's basically just a directory of farms in your area that you can find. You can search state by state in the United States and also in Canada. So I don't think that you'd be able to find any information anywhere else in the world. So I'm sorry to anyone who's in the UK or elsewhere. But yeah, if you are in the US and in Canada, then this is a very good resource. I'm going to link it below in the description box so that you can check it out for yourself. And actually, if you are in New Jersey or New York, you can feel free to reach out to me, to email me. My email is also down below. And so I'll let you know the co-op that I have been buying from for a few years, actually, the local New Jersey, New York co-op that, I have experience with, that I like and regularly buy from. That's not to say that I just get all my food from there. I still go to the grocery store, to the supermarket, Whole Foods. I still, it's kind of hard to get absolutely everything from one of these kinds of places, like whether it's a co-op or a CSA, which is CSA is Community Supported Agriculture. You can find those on that website as well. And yeah, I just think it's a really good resource that probably not too many people know about, but more people should know about it, especially with everything that's going on. And just in general, like I said, I've been buying from one of the co-ops that are local to my area. I've been buying from there for a few years now. So yes, and so you can find all kinds of high quality pastured meats, poultry, eggs, dairy, including raw dairy, as well as, of course, produce, high quality produce, and even baked goods and all sorts of things. I personally don't eat baked goods, but I'm sure people do. So, yeah. And I do eat raw dairy, and I have experience with that as well for several years, and I'm alive, right? And thankfully, doing well, in good health. So, because I know if you look online, if you Google information about raw dairy, you're gonna get some things that, they're gonna say that, oh, it's dangerous because it's not pasteurized. But that's all bullshit, because raw dairy is extremely beneficial for our health. People do have to be careful. I know people are lactose intolerant. It's less common if you consume raw dairy. And especially, I actually prefer mostly goat dairy and some sheep dairy as well. So perhaps people who are lactose intolerant can tolerate that and just raw A2 dairy in general, as opposed to the pasteurized stuff that you get from the store, which is highly inflammatory because it's pasteurized. All the enzymes have been taken out of it, and it's difficult for the body to process. And yeah, it's inflammatory, the pasteurized one, even if it's organic. But yeah, so I know that it's illegal in many states to sell raw dairy, like you can't get it in the supermarket, maybe with the exception of some raw cheese. But yeah, so definitely in New York and New Jersey, it's not possible to get raw dairy. Again, with the possible exception of raw cheese, it's like you just can't get it in the store. So this is a good, if you go and to one of these places that's listed on this eatwild.com website, then you can get raw dairy that way and benefit your health. And yeah, it's, you support these small farms. They're all small family farms that this stuff comes from, so you support them. And I know that the co-op that I buy from, they accept cash only, which for some people might be a problem, but it's good because that way you support the counter economy. So, because nothing is reported or recorded officially as how it is when you use a credit card or a debit card. So there are definitely benefits to that. Yeah, so hopefully, you'll be able to find something in your state and where you're located. I think that there must be something in every state. I haven't looked at every single state, but because there's 50 states, but there's definitely something in each one. So yeah. Also, I wanted to talk about what's going on with the war between Russia and Ukraine, and everything that's going on with that. And so it seems like all the attention, or at least most of the attention, has been taken away from COVID right as we hit the 2-year anniversary. And it's now all focused on this war. So, there's always something, right? There's always something that they want people to focus on, something negative, something that causes fear, stress, worry, anxiety. And, this is not something that is completely fabricated, right? Things are going on. People are experiencing pain and suffering because of this war. And you just have to be careful, because you really can't believe everything that you hear in the news. And yeah, but I do personally know some people who live in both Russia and Ukraine who are being affected by this in different ways. The ones in Russia are being affected economically, and the ones who are in Ukraine their whole lives are being affected. But also Russian people here, actually in the United States, Russian American people are being affected because right now everyone is so anti-Russia and all of that. And it seems like a lot of people are conflating what the Russian government is doing with the Russian people, and basically blaming Russian people for it, and Russian Americans as well. People are boycotting Russian businesses, like, Russian stores, Russian restaurants, things like that. which makes no sense, right? Because what do these people who fled Russia to escape communism, most likely, as my own parents did? My family is from Russia, and my parents came here to escape communism. So, and this is the case for a lot of Russian Americans. And so now these people who certainly don't like the Russian government and have nothing to do with it, you know, they're being punished for the actions of the government. And because a lot of people seem to be very myopic and not really seeing the big picture and just gobbling up the crap that the media wants everyone to think yet again. So that's really unfortunate. And I mean, yeah, it's not always black and white. It's not so cut and dry. There's, you know, it's a very complex situation. It always is with most things. But a lot of times the majority of people tend to be hive-minded and just, you know, on Facebook, everyone has the profile frame with the Ukrainian flag on their profile in support of that. But what they're really doing with that is, well, first of all, they're virtue signaling and also displaying their herd mentality, but also they're like, you know, they're basically supporting the Ukrainian government, which is no better than the Russian government. I mean, governments in general are bad, like bad. I mean, and so you want to talk about war, right? So governments have been waging wars against their own people and committing crimes against humanity for, I mean, forever. I mean, just since the beginning of time, and since basically governments started. And yeah, I mean, this should have been pretty clear to people after the past 2 years and what has happened and all of the tyranny. And, you know, I guess a lot of people still just don't quite understand or understand what's really going on. And I mean, like, also just, I want to say that war is not so cut and dry either always. War is not just the typical kind of war, like what is going on in Ukraine and Russia, and like the kind of war with combat and soldiers and bombs going off and that kind of stuff. It's not just that, right? Like I said, governments have been waging war against humanity for forever in so many ways, so many ways. And I mean, government is really it's the biggest crime syndicate ever, you know. And just, I mean, I don't know, like, it's, so I know someone who is a conservative, and he just, you know, he sees that there are problems with the government, but he still, you know, thinks that Republicans are good, right? That they're on his side, and that Republicans are just doing good, and he just blames everything on the Democrats, which, I mean, both sides are completely corrupt and completely evil and completely in on everything that they're doing together. So, yeah, but this person wants to argue with me every time, and it's okay because he is respectful. He doesn't, if someone wants to disagree with me on anything, that's totally fine, as long as the person is not like, just attacking me personally and hurling personal insults and ad hominem attacks. See, that's not okay when someone just gets really disrespectful. So people should be able to disagree in a respectful manner, but apparently that seems to be difficult. Again, not with this particular person that I'm talking about, but just in general, it's something that I'm seeing. And so please also keep that in mind. Like, for comments, again, I welcome disagreement, but just please keep it respectful if you are going to voice disagreement. And so, that's what I do personally. I don't start attacking someone when they disagree with me. I'm just like, okay, I'm presenting what my opinion is, what my view is, my perspective is, and then, you could feel free to share yours. And perhaps we could learn something from each other. But people are quick to judge, just as they're doing now with lumping just all the Russian people together with the Russian government, with Putin and all of that. And yeah, it's a tough situation. I'm just gonna have a sip of my tea now. But yeah, what I was saying about war, I mean, we've made it through the past 2 years, this has been a war in and of itself, what has happened with this. And I see war every day when I go outside and I look at the sky and I see what's being sprayed down on everyone and everything. And, people want to say, oh, it's barium, strontium, and aluminum, which those things are not good. And it very well could be. But who even really knows what's in it? Or what if nothing is even actually in it and it's just there as, a distraction, basically? But although I will say it's not just a distraction anyway, because even if there's not anything in it, it does cause harm because it's ugly. It ruins a perfectly beautiful sky, and most importantly, it also blocks out the sun, which we need the sun and sunlight, obviously, for our physical and mental health. We need it for vitamin D. I know that I always feel better when I'm out in the sun and getting sunlight. And, when it's all cloudy and gloomy and I just don't feel as well mentally. And I feel more tired too, physically. And yeah, so that's a war in and of itself that has been going on for a long time. And what about the fluoride in the water and all the other chemicals in the municipal water, right? That people are consuming and, consuming internally and also bathing in and all of that. And just, that's a war too. And people just want to talk about certain isolated incidents of There was several years ago, like Flint, Michigan, like the water there, how it was all like terrible. But I mean, I think there's really horrible water quality throughout the country. I'm not sure how it is in other countries, like how it is in Canada or Mexico or the UK or just other parts of the world, but I know how it is here. And basically here, it's to the point where you absolutely have no choice, that you have to use a filter or filtration system to clean that. So, and you need like a shower filter, and yeah, like I think the Brita filters, those pitcher filters are not really good enough. I haven't used that one in years. I use something else, but yeah, you can't just consume the water without filtering it. It's terrible. It tastes terrible too, at least where I am in New Jersey. So yeah. And then what about all of like the shit that's in the food, right? All the chemicals, all the substances, like it's not even really food, it's like the stuff that passes for food. It's just like basically food like substances and not even real food. There's no nutrition in a lot of the crap that passes for food in recent times, in modern times. And yeah, all the chemicals, all the GMOs. And yeah, I mean, with GMOs especially, like, you can search for studies that have been done about it and the negative effects. But since GMOs are relatively new, relatively speaking, to, in the history of humanity, and I don't even think that all of the effects of GMOs have even, been able to be observed yet. So, and then of course with the now a lot of people have gotten genetically modified through a magical injection that many people, have been getting. And I just heard that Fraudchi is saying that a fourth one is definitely going to be necessary. So yeah, and it's crazy. And what about all the economic wars that have been going on, which I guess you could call those cold wars? And I don't mean like, I'm not talking about necessarily like the actual Cold War, what's actually known as the Cold War, but all of what has been done to other countries by the American government, and going in and destroying them, and not just destroying them in the typical war sense, like combat and bombings, but yeah, economically, and people suffer because of that. And I mean, there's just it's also just everything that's been going on, that is going on. It's really also a spiritual war. I know like a lot of people have talked about that and said that, but I mean, it really is, I mean, it is. And it's hard, as I mean, I can't speak for everyone. I can speak for myself only, but as an empath, it's very difficult to be living through these times and to be experiencing all of this negative energy that has been going around, and that seems to be very prevalent just in general in the collective consciousness. And yeah, it's difficult, like I get really depressed because of it. I really don't try to dwell on it. I live my life. I I do my thing, but it's difficult, you know, and my life has in many ways been changed because of the past 2 years and everything that has gone on with COVID. Um, so yeah, there's, you know, it's a lot has happened in the past 2 years, just a lot. So yeah, I mean, it's not always easy to just accept change, although, you know, change is is to be expected because life is unpredictable and you never really know what could happen, even if everything seems to be going just swimmingly and swell, and you just never know. I don't know why I said that. That feels so 1950s. Swell, I don't know. I was just, but yeah, it just, it was the word that came to mind. Um, yeah, so those are just my thoughts for today. And again, I hope that everyone is holding strong and doing well. And, you know, I know it's difficult, but anyway, I do have my tea. Today I have, what do I have? I have an elderberry and lemongrass tea. That's one. I have 3 teas, of course, because I always do. And what else? I have oh, of course, I have a chamomile because this is, you know, I'm recording this late night, like after midnight, close to 1 a.m. And it actually, it's like almost 1:15 a.m. right now. So yeah, so yeah, the lemongrass, elderberry, the chamomile, and also hibiscus tea. I really love hibiscus, and these are all really, it's just a really good blend right now. It tastes really good, and they're all very beneficial. Oh, and actually, the elderberry tea, it has ashwagandha in it, which is very beneficial for stress, and it reduces cortisol and reduces anxiety. So yeah, I really like it. It has a lot of benefits. You can look it up for yourself. You should always look things up for yourself, do your own research. Okay, so I only have 2 tea bag quotes today because the hibiscus one, that bag does not have you know, a tag or anything like that. So what does this one say? This first quote here says, "Nature teaches us harmony." I mean, I would agree, you know. I always feel much more balanced and harmonious when I go outside into nature. And there's just something about it, you know. Um, I've seen for the past few days that I've gone outside, and it wasn't even like a few consecutive days. It was like one day, and then like I didn't go, and then like the next day I would go because the weather has been all over the place. But I saw um this really cute thing. I saw a duck couple. It was so cute. Well, you can tell they're a couple because you know, you can see by their physical appearance and coloration who's the female duck and who's the male duck. And they were in this pond area, you know, around where I live, where I walk. And yeah, I saw them for a few days already, just, and I know it's the same couple because like I can just tell, I can just sense it. And they're just, oh my gosh, it's so cute just how they are, and to observe them, and they're so harmonious, and just, you know, their behavior. Yeah, I just stood there and watched them, and I was like, oh, it's so nice, you know. And just you know, being like amongst the trees and stuff, you know, I feel like trees are, they're my friends, and I'm being serious. You might think that's sad or pathetic or crazy, but you know, I can feel the trees' energy when I'm like, you know, with them. And there are some pine trees here where I live, and yeah, it's nice. Like I like to touch the pines and stuff, and yeah, it definitely puts me in a better mood. So yeah. Um okay, so what do we have here? The next one. Okay, this one says gratitude leads to love. Okay, so that one's pretty straightforward. I mean, yeah, I guess so. You would have to be grateful towards someone or something in order to love that person or thing. If you if you just don't care for the person or the thing or whatever it is, then I mean, I guess there's no love there, right? It's just apathy or whatever. I wouldn't say like I don't think that the opposite of love is actually hate. I think it might actually be apathy, where people just don't care. Because if at least if you hate someone or something, you know, that's like you have feelings towards that. You know what I mean? Like it's like you feel something at least. But apathy is just like nothing. Nothing. So, yeah. You know, that's just how I feel about it and what I think. So, yeah, I think I've rambled on long enough. Okay, long enough for today. So definitely check out the eatwild.com for, you know, to find high quality food near you and support local farms, and, you know, support yourself, your own health and well-being in the process. And yeah, I hope you got you know, something else out of the video as well, or just something. I just hope you got something out of the video just in general. Okay, and thank you for watching, and you'll see me next time.